In this video, I'm going to talk about how to get better at guitar and what you should do when you're practicing. First thing, when you're sitting down to practice, you need to have a game plan, meaning you should have a routine of songs that you're working on, exercises and scales, arpeggios, techniques, anything that is right outside of your range of playing. That's the stuff that you need to be working on. And when I say a routine, that means a daily routine, something where when you pick up guitar, you've got an order of things that you do. First off, when you're playing guitar, you should warm up. Warm up, it takes, really, my professor said it takes about an hour to warm up. I realize most people only have about an hour to practice. So you should really dedicate at least 10 minutes of warm-up exercises. I wouldn't go vigorously when you're warming up. When you're warming up, play slow. Make sure you're playing proper technique, so you have your fingers are always pointed down at the guitar. You're never pointed away. So if you're playing your chords there, no fingers should be going. I'll move a little bit. You shouldn't have any fingers going berserk. Giving the middle finger, don't want to do that, or not on purpose at least. But you should always be pointed down at the guitar. Fingers are never away. Never squeezing the guitar. You shouldn't really squeeze with your thumb like this either, but sometimes it hangs out there depending on the guitar that you have. Electric, acoustic, classical. All of that is going to depict how you play guitar, how you're sitting, the shape of the guitar. Look at this, the shape of this guitar. So that is the only guitar that I have that's shaped like this. I've got classical guitars that have a pretty regular shape. They call it an hourglass shape. And then I've got a Les Paul and a Fender. And both of those are pretty standard shapes of the Les Paul and the Fender. But why I bring that up is because when you're playing it, it's going to sit in your lap differently. So you need to have a very comfortable playing position and experiment. Use a footstool. Put it on different legs, the guitar, and find out something that's comfortable for you. I think you should also consider playing standing up if you have a guitar with strap buttons. I think standing up, you can adjust it so it's right in your center of gravity. You never want to have to reach or have your shoulders scrunched up like that. It should always be natural. And again, with your fingers too, you should never be squeezing like that. You should always be nice and relaxed. And you'll sound a lot better too. Your playing will sound relaxed and not tense. So you always need to be relaxed when you're playing guitar and from the neck down. So never, scrunching up your shoulders. Always be relaxed and be mindful of what your feet are doing. A lot of students kick their feet about when you're playing. I don't really even think you should be tapping your feet to the beat, because you're actually moving your body, and even if it's a slight movement, your guitar will be moved as well by tapping around. So you really need to be still when you're playing. I think if you're standing up, though, you can kind of sway, but that's the only kind of movement that you can do. So after you're done with your warm-ups, you should play some scales. You should play scales for 10 to 20 minutes. You should have, I'd say, 3 or 4 different scales that you play with the metronome. And when I say 4, I mean 4 that you continuously work on. And then once you feel like, okay, I can really play the scale, I'm playing it, at 220 eighth notes cleanly, and I can do that 10 times in a row perfectly. You can probably, other than increasing the speed, learn a new scale. I don't think the point of guitar soloing or getting better is learning as many scales as possible, but scales are important for so many different reasons. because they teach you an actual pattern of music, and that patterns are is what music is. So that's why they're so important. You can, if you're in a minor key, you can use, several different patterns. I was going to say like 6 different patterns, but it's actually, you can do a lot more, but that's the only patterns that I could think of. If someone like Guthrie Govan can play 200 different scales, and I just don't know that many. That's too many to learn. Look it up in a book, and you can learn new crazy scales that no one else knows. But when you're practicing scales, you can play a lot of different techniques. You can practice all these different techniques while you're playing scales. Like I said, the same thing. Making sure your hand is the same shape the whole time. You're not squeezing. You're playing with your fingertips, and you're playing with a metronome. The metronome is the secret of getting better. You don't have to play with the metronome on the whole time you're practicing, but you should have your metronome right by you, and when you're doing your scales, metronomes are a must. A lot of scales that I teach, I teach the pentatonic scale. The A minor position is the best starting point, and you can do different cascading patterns with that. The C major Segovia scale is also a great scale because it uses all of your fingers evenly, and you can play with the pick. Both of those scales with the pick are with your fingers. There's another Segovia scale that I play, the B minor melodic scale, and that really uses the whole neck of the guitar, so that's why that is so important. But really, there's a bunch of other Segovia scales that you can practice, and every different guitar book has many different ways that you can play just a C major scale. So you need to realize that the Segovia scale that I teach is not the only way you can play a C major scale. A C major scale is just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But if you can play it on one string, C, D, E, E, F, A, or G, A, B, C. Let me try that again. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Got a little tongue-tied there. But that is just a pattern. So what you should do is be able to play that pattern in all of its different fingerings. All up and down the guitar. And if you're a beginner, don't worry about it. That's just stuff that you acquire over years of practicing. But how much practice you do in a single year can really speed up depending on how much you put in. So yeah, you can speed up the process by making your practice sessions very focused and concentrated. So like I said, play for an hour or so and split that up in starting with warm-ups. We've got 10 minutes. Scales, 10 to 20 minutes. And then now you need to be working on new music. New music can be something you're working on, or something like a new part of the song that you're working on, or starting on from scratch. And you need to be listening to new music. You need to be listening to the radio, YouTube, anywhere where you can listen to music. Especially if you're a young person and you don't know too many bands out there, just listen to the radio. Just put the radio on scan and let it play just continuously until you find a song, and then say, okay, I'm going to stop and then listen to it and try to figure out who the song is. A lot of times your car might even say what the artist is. And if it's a catchy song lyric, you might be able to Google it, if you don't know what the song is immediately. But you need to be learning new songs a lot, as much as you can. Especially if you're an intermediate guitar player, you should try to find an artist that you really like and learn a whole album of them. So learn a whole Led Zeppelin album, learn a whole Black Sabbath album, learn a whole Pink Floyd. I'm mentioning classic rock because that's what I did when I was in my late teens. I would play heavy metal music, like In Flames was the band that I liked the most, and learned all of their guitar. I just learned every single In Flames song. I like them because they have really catchy melodic guitar parts, and they're fun to play. They're heavy metal, so not very low battery here, sorry. So it's a lot of hard stuff, but not too far out of reach. So it's kind of hard to find that balance of being able to find a song that is right within your reach. You don't want to be playing a song that's just so hard where you can't even make out a quarter note of the music. So by having a teacher, it really does help knowing what song you should learn. And if you want to learn music, tell your teacher. Hey, I want a new song. This is an artist I like. So that'll give them ideas of what they can give you. Okay, so you've warmed up, you played your scaled, you worked on a new song for however long you can focus. I'd say 15 to 20 minutes. And then you should learn or go back and work on old songs. And old songs are good repetition because you can still practice technique while you're playing your songs. You can play through a Led Zeppelin album and you're really kind of doing a chord study, or guitar lead, working on bends, working on hammer-ons and pull-offs, going from different chords in chord progressions. And when you're learning these songs and revisiting old songs, say to yourself, okay, what is this actual note that I'm playing? Okay, 7th fret on the A string. What is that? What is that? It's an E. Yeah, that's right. And if we go up a string, it's A, D, G, C on the 8th fret. C, G are on the 8th fret. Then we have 7th fret. This is D, A, E, B. So being able to know the notes on the fretboard are a must, but it's something that takes time. But once you learn some patterns, you can apply those patterns all over the guitar. So learn the caged system. C, A, G, E, D. I'll have a video that explains caged better. But caged is a chord groups or chord shapes. So C, you spell caged with the C, C shape. A shape. G, G shape. I'm sorry, this is G, E shape, and then D shape. Okay? So then all you have to do is put those shapes into every single chord imaginable. So you want to play an A chord but a G shape? Well, you have to go like this. Find A and then put that shape down. It's kind of different because we have those open strings. I'll do a whole new video about that sometime. But you want to learn the cage system and learn as much new music as possible and be listening to new music, playing scales, doing different finger exercises. And I think most importantly is playing with other people. Play with some friends, it doesn't matter what the instrument is, just play with other people. And then just learn songs and play those songs together, and that is really how you grow as a musician, I think. When you play by yourself the whole time, it's kind of stale in the sense that you don't feel how alive music can be until you're in front of another person. When you are playing a song with another person, you can tell that the music that you're creating is alive. But if you're in your own room playing guitar or any instrument, you and the instrument are all by yourself. So when you're playing with another person, you're opening up this part of you that's kind of closed off. It's a relationship between you and music, or you and the guitar. So when you're playing with someone else, that makes a relationship between the musicians, and the music that you make comes alive, and it goes away when the music is done. And so it's a real special thing to play music with others. And once you're good enough, you need to play in front of other people, and then you'll realize that is the best part about playing music, is playing for others. And people will just love you for it, because nowadays music is just on speakers. There's plenty of musicians and amazing artists and bands out there, but really, when people see good instrumentalists live, and just in like restaurants, or just playing background music, people really respond to it, and they have a good, memorable experience. So those are my tips on how to get better. Good luck.